When you hear the word Neanderthal, what comes to mind? For a long time, the image was simple: a caveman, brutish and dim-witted, doomed to extinction while we, Homo sapiens, marched forward to build civilizations. But what if I told you that this picture is completely wrong? What if I told you that Neanderthals weren't just our distant cousins, but part of us? That their DNA still lives inside our bodies, shaping how we look, how we fight disease, and even how we think. Today, science is uncovering secrets about Neanderthals that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about being human. Let's dive into the astonishing discoveries. For over a century, Neanderthals were dismissed as evolutionary failures. The fossils looked different: thick skulls, heavy brows, stocky builds. Early scientists painted them as clumsy cavemen, incapable of art, speech, or complex thought. But in the last 20 years, science has flipped that story upside down. DNA analysis, first completed in 2010, revealed something shocking. Every person outside Africa carries 14% Neanderthal DNA. That means if you have European, Asian, or Native American ancestry, a part of you is Neanderthal. They never fully disappeared. They live in us. The first big secret: they were artists. One of the most astonishing revelations came from caves in Spain and France. Red ochre markings, hand stencils, and symbolic designs were found, and carbon dating revealed something mind-blowing. Some of these artworks were created more than 60,000 years ago, before modern humans even arrived in Europe. That means Neanderthals, not sapiens, were the first artists of Europe. They weren't mindless brutes. They were symbolic thinkers, storytellers, creators. The second secret: they spoke like us. For decades, scientists believed Neanderthals couldn't talk like humans. Their anatomy was assumed to prevent complex speech. But DNA has revealed that Neanderthals carried the FOXP2 gene, the same gene that enables modern humans to form language. Combined with studies of their throat and ear bones, scientists now believe Neanderthals spoke in complex ways. Their conversations might have sounded different, but they likely had words, grammar, and maybe even songs. They weren't silent cavemen, they were talkers and singers. The third secret: they shaped our bodies. Alright, so think about your own body for a moment. Do you sunburn easily? Do you have allergies? Do you tend to store fat in certain ways? Surprisingly, some of these traits may come from Neanderthals. Studies show that Neanderthal genes affect, well, quite a few things. Skin and hair color. Some variations for pale skin and red hair actually trace back to them. Immune systems. Certain Neanderthal DNA helps us fight viruses. And metabolism. Some genes linked to type 2 diabetes today were once useful for surviving cold climates. Even our risk for depression, blood clotting, or nicotine addiction has been tied to Neanderthal DNA. Their survival strategies became part of our biology, for better and for worse. The fourth secret: they loved us. Perhaps the most humanizing secret of all is that Neanderthals and Homo sapiens didn't just fight each other, they fell in love. Genetic evidence proves that Neanderthals and early modern humans interbred multiple times across Europe and Asia. These weren't one-time encounters, they were long-term relationships producing children who carried mixed DNA. That's why you and I still carry their genes today. It means Neanderthals weren't just them, they were part of us. The fifth secret: they were survivors. Neanderthals thrived for over 300,000 years, far longer than modern humans have existed so far. They survived brutal ice ages, dangerous predators, and shifting landscapes. They crafted advanced stone tools, built shelters, used fire, and even cared for their sick and elderly. One skeleton showed a Neanderthal who lived years despite a withered arm and blindness in one eye. The only way he could have survived is if others cared for him. That means compassion and community were part of their world, long before modern civilization. So if Neanderthals were smart, artistic, compassionate, and strong, why did they vanish about 40,000 years ago? The answer may not be what you think. It wasn't a sudden extinction. Instead, they merged with us. As modern humans spread into Europe, we didn't replace Neanderthals entirely. We absorbed them. Every child born from a Neanderthal sapiens couple ensured their genes lived on. Slowly, Neanderthals disappeared as a separate population, but their legacy survived in our DNA. In a way, Neanderthals never died, they became us. The sixth secret, they changed our minds. Here's a wild idea. Neanderthals may have shaped not just our bodies but our minds. Some researchers argue that traits linked to creativity, memory, or even mental illness could trace back to Neanderthal genes. By mixing with them, Homo sapiens may have gained new ways of thinking, new strengths, and yes, new vulnerabilities. Without Neanderthals, our brains might not work the way they do today. The latest breakthrough is pretty wild. Scientists have just discovered Neanderthal DNA in some surprising places. Not in bones, but actually in sediments. Just recently, they found that even dirt in caves can hold fragments of ancient Neanderthal DNA, revealing where they lived and when, even without needing fossils. This breakthrough is seriously rewriting timelines, showing that Neanderthals spread farther and survived longer than we ever thought. So why should we care about Neanderthal secrets? Well, because they remind us that being human is not a straight line. We are not a pure species just marching forward alone. We're mosaics. Mixtures of many ancient cousins, shaped by love, struggle, and survival. Every time you look in the mirror, you're actually seeing traces of a story that began long before history, when Neanderthals roamed icy Europe and met our ancestors under cold stars. Their story is our story. Their blood runs in our veins. The secrets science has uncovered about Neanderthals, honestly, they change everything. They weren't brutish cavemen, they were artists, speakers, lovers, survivors, and their DNA still whispers in our bodies today. So the next time someone uses Neanderthal as an insult, remember this. Without them, we wouldn't be who we are. And maybe, just maybe, the real secret is that they were never gone at all.